Hi everyone, in this video we're told the equations of two lines are given below. Line 1 has equation 3x minus 2y plus 1 is equal to 0. Line 2 has equation 5x minus 7y plus 10 is equal to 0. We're told in the question that line 3 is perpendicular to line 2, this line, and has the same x-intercept as line 2, which is this line right here. We're asked to determine the equation of line 3 in both slope y-intercept form and standard form. So in order to solve this question, it's easiest first to write the equation of our line in slope y-intercept form. In order to write the equation of a line in slope y-intercept form, we need to know both the slope and the y-intercept. So let's think about how to do that. Well, if we go back to the information that we're given in the question, we know the equation of line 1, and we know that line 3 is perpendicular to line 1. So if I determine the slope of line 1, I know that the slope of line 3 is the negative reciprocal of the slope of line 1, and that's because the two lines are perpendicular. So let's start off this question by figuring out what the slope is. So the slope of line 1, we have, first let's rearrange the equation for the line 1, and let's write it in slope y-intercept form to get the slope of the line. So we have for line 1, 3x minus 2y plus 1 is equal to 0. We can subtract 3x and positive 1 from both sides of the equation, and we get that negative 2y is equal to negative 3x minus 1. To isolate for y, we divide both sides of the equation by negative 2. Negative 2y divided by negative 2 is just y. Negative 3x divided by negative 2 is positive 3 over 2x. And negative 1 divided by negative 2 is positive 1/2. Okay, so we have that the slope of line 1, m1, is going to be equal to the coefficient on x when written in slope y-intercept form. So m1 is equal to 3 over 2. We know that m1 or line 1 is perpendicular to line 3, and therefore they have perpendicular slopes. So we know that the slope of line 3 is going to be the negative reciprocal of 3/2, and that's because they're perpendicular. So line 3 has slope being equal to negative 2/3. And that's because negative 2/3 is the negative reciprocal of 3/2. If you're wondering how to get the negative reciprocal, well, first you take the reciprocal of a number, or of the number. So in this case, the reciprocal of 3/2 would be 2/3. And then you simply multiply it by negative 1. So we have negative 2/3. The next piece of information that we're given in the question, just let me scroll up here, is that line 3 has the same x-intercept as line 2. So it's probably a good idea to figure out the x-intercept of line 2, and that'll give us the x-intercept of line 3. So let's go ahead and say the x-intercept and the equation for line 3 was, for line 2, rather. For line 2, we had 5x minus 7y plus 10 is equal to 0. To figure out what the x-intercept is, we let y be equal to 0. And that's because the x-intercept is where the graph of this line crosses the x-axis. And along the x-axis, y is equal to 0. So that's why we let y be equal to 0. So we'll let y be equal to 0. And if we do that, we have 5x minus 7 times 0 plus 10 is equal to 0. Solving this equation, we can subtract 10 from both sides. And we have that 5x is equal to negative 10. Dividing both sides of this equation by 5 gives us that x is equal to negative 10 over 5, which is negative 2. So we can say, therefore, the x-intercept of line 2 and line 3 is negative 2. Now this tells us a point on line 3, and we have the slope of line 3. So what we're tasked with figuring out here now is just the y-intercept of line 3. So we have that so far for line 3. So we have enough information to figure out the equation of line 3 now. We could use point slope form for this, but since we're asked to write the equation of the line in slope y-intercept form, it's probably just as easy to determine the y-intercept using by solving for b first. So for line 3, we have first y is equal to mx plus b is the form of the equation, and let's say that this is m3. Y is equal to m3 times x plus b1 plus b3 rather, where m3 is the slope of line 3 and b3 is the y-intercept of line 3. So to figure out this equation, well, first off, we have m3 already. So we have y is equal to negative 2 over 3, which we determined before, times x plus b3. To solve for b3, let's just substitute any point that we know is on our line. And since we know that the x-intercept of line 3 is negative 2, we know that, so we can say, since the x-intercept is negative 2, we have that negative 2 comma 0 is a point on line 3. So we can substitute negative 2 comma 0. And if we do that, we have that 0 is equal to negative 2 over 3 times negative 2 plus our y-intercept, which is b3. If we multiply negative 2/3 times negative 2, we have that 0 is equal to 4/3 plus the y-intercept of line 3. We can solve for b3 by subtracting negative 4/3 from both sides of the equation, and we get that b3 is equal to negative 4/3. And a nicer way to write that, and using the symmetric property of equality, we could have just said that b3 would be equal to negative 4/3. So that gives us enough information to write the equation of the line in slope y-intercept form. So slope y-intercept form we have y is equal to negative 2/3 times x minus 4/3. To write this equation in standard form, so in standard form, we need to first clear the fractions in this equation. So we have that y is equal to negative 2 over 3 times x minus 4 over 3. So we'll multiply both sides of the equation by the least common multiple of all the denominators of all the terms. So the least common multiple of the denominators of all the terms would be 3. So we'll multiply both sides of the equation, or both sides of this equation, by 3. On the left side, we have 3y. On the right side, if we distribute 3 into the brackets here, we'll have 3y is equal to negative 2x minus 4. We can now add 2x to both sides of the equation. And we have that 2x plus 3y. Adding both sides of adding 4 to both sides of the equation would give us positive 4 on the left side as well. So we have that 2x plus 3y plus 4 is equal to 0, and this is our equation in standard form. So lastly, let's finish off with a statement. We have, therefore, the equation of the line in slope y-intercept form is y is equal to negative 2/3 x minus 4/3, and in standard form is 2x plus 3y plus 4 is equal to 0.